Fiorano of the 1290.
Knights, bluff,
I
and
do
wine
encourage you to
counsel.
drain.
No half-hearted.
Very like Highness. Your Grace.
Can't believe it. Simply can't.
But this is no unicorn.
Your Highness.
Perhaps an apple will work. Or some sweets.
We would not be in this predicament, dear sister, were you still a virgin.
Do you really wish to have this conversation again? Here and now?
Hush, or you'll spook the beast. We shall try the sweets.
Hey folks, gonna have to ruin your fun. Sorry.
Who's that?
Almost had it. Come on, stay calm. Shh, calm down. Easy now.
Well, that's hardly fair.
Flagrant cheating is what it is! Sirs, we must teach this scamp some proper sportsmanship.
Listen, I didn't break any rules.
True, he won fair and square.
We were unlucky, that's all. We must try to grab the next clue.
The gardens are huge. Be better off on horseback.
Unworthy. Entirely inappropriate behavior. A complete collapse.
Behold the Phil Sampono of Belhaven.
Fire eater? Who invited
Oh,
him?
nursed upon Mount Port's slopes by a she-dragon of our own tit. Flames do him no harm.
Golden fish should be easy to spot once I'm under.
That's not it at all. It was to be golden.
Do you think I don't know that?
Possibly.
What the blazes?
Did someone just dive in? Water? Perhaps that was...
Counter to the rules?
Hey, wait. Stop. It's important.
King Cormorant, sire, accept this offering we bring. Prithee cast upon us your merciful eye, and bear before us its secrets.
As the moon is heavenly course doth trace, in my domain I await that moment of grace, when a soul of good or ill repute brings me a gift, fitting tribute.
A key.
Why, you bomb-botched wretch!
He's ruined the game!
Disgraceful.
true to traditional values and morals.
The light, it's positively useless. She can't possibly see it.
An abstract one?
Oh! Fumble dance!
But your grace,
No buts.
If you please, Your Grace.
We do not please. We act out of the highest necessity. All shall be explained later.
But it's against the rules.
I am the rules. Geralt! At last.
Got a key and a clue.
And I've another. Show me yours. Who wrote this drivel? I begin like a groan, hollowed out with ease, then end like a mouse, with a head of hard cheese.
Let's see. Groan. With ease gives us green, right? And mouse with a head of hard cheese. Greenhouse?
You're a genius. Several greenhouses in the gardens, indeed, but only one with a door that locks, the key to which looks just like the one we found.
Greenhouse it is then. Let's go. Wait here.
Oh! What the butch? Oh! Oh! What was that?
I'm here.
This belonged to you, maybe?
It did, but you may keep it. I've a new one. I do not know you. I've done you no harm. Yet first you butchered a Bruxer who was dear to me. Now you pursue me. Why?
You've killed 4 innocent people, at least.
And you? How many innocents have you cut down?
Plenty. Even more of the guilty, though. You're next.
I think not. You see, I've something to do still.
More murders?
Just one. Not counting yours.
Won't let you kill again.
were to stay where you were. Regenerate!
I know you're in trouble. I can help.
I'll help myself!
No, he's my friend.
Yes, Geralt, it's me.
Regis? You alright?
All is well. All's in order. Wounds such as these heal on vampires in moments. But we've not seen one another in ages, my friend. At least in human terms, that is.
How's this even possible? Last I saw you...
I was a bubbling, shapeless smear, having been rather spectacularly melted into a column of a certain castle. In somewhat better shape now, as you can see. Hardly peak form, mind you, but were I human, folk would think me a demigod, I dare say.
I'm sorry. What happened, it was my fault. Never got a chance to apologize.
No need, Geralt. Bygones. I did not have to join you on that expedition. No one twisted my arm.
Miraculous regeneration. How do you manage it?
I had help. From the one you hunt.
Him? How? And what have you been doing all these years?
Not the time nor place for such stories. I suspect we'll get a chance to speak at ease and at length later. Now, however, we must deal with the reason that brought us both here.
Local serial killer seems to obey you. Maybe you could talk him out of it, convince him to stop murdering.
Why do you think I've come? It shall not be easy, as Dettlaff can be rather stubborn. Though you must certainly recall that neither do I surrender readily.
So that's his name. He's your friend?
You might call it that. Though Dettlaff is... how would you humans put it? More bestial than I am. But not to worry. I'm working on him.
Haven't exactly done a great job with that. He's killed one knight since I got here. At least 3 others before I arrived.
For good reason, I'm sure. Understand, Dettlaff is not some decadent shit who kills for sport, or to assuage a dryness of throat or a dullness of mood.
So in your opinion, what are his reasons?
Precisely what I wish to find out. And then I will convince him of the error of his ways.
Got a lot of faith in the guy.
Despite appearances to the contrary, you two are quite alike. You've both noble hearts, yet you both are wont to perform ignoble deeds. When circumstances force you to, of course. Remember the year 964?
That was 3 centuries ago.
Blind fear gripped Rivia, Lyria, and Spala. Women and children were dying. Their mutilated, dismembered corpses littered the fields.
Brute of Lyria. Read about it. Chewed up almost 200, then fell to a common poacher supposedly armed with a dagger blessed by some prophet.
It fell to Dettlaff, who then found a poacher asleep in the brush near his snares and dropped the fiend's corpse at his feet. And thus, a legend was born.
Vampires rarely help humans. Must have had his own agenda, hunting the beast.
You err. He slew it for one reason alone. The monster killed a lad who once, in the street, had offered Dettlaff an apple, expecting nothing in return.
Terribly noble of him.
You do not have a monopoly on altruism, my friend. Vilgefortz melted my body. Dettlaff found what was left. As per our codex, he had a choice. To leave me where I was, or to care for me and nurture my remains. He chose the latter. Regenerated me at no small expense in his own blood. Do you know what that means to a vampire? The gravity of the endeavor?
Probably same thing it means to a human. You owe him your life.
Much more than that. The act itself made us blood brethren. A bond so strong humans cannot even imagine. Which is why I know something ill is afoot.
Always had an overdeveloped sense of empathy.
Each vampire has a unique talent. One they hone over centuries. It's precisely what renders us so difficult to classify. Dettlaff's trump card is his herd instinct. His tribal propensity. In point of fact, he prefers the company of lesser vampires and shuns that of humans. If he walks among you, killing egregiously, it can only mean something's upset him. Immensely.
Anything specific? Some set of things that'd be likely to set him off?
How should I say this? Dettlaff doesn't understand men, their world, its rules, its conventions. He's naive in a sense. He doesn't comprehend your games, knows not what it means to lie, deceive.
Suggesting he's maladjusted and venting his rage.
I'm suggesting maladjustment can at times breed conflict. But is it the case this time? I cannot say, but intend to find out.
Gotta find him before something upsets him even more, and all Beauclair is awash with blood.
Well, we share a cause then, just like the old days.
Not entirely. I mean, when I find him, you know.
I know you've a contract on his head. Yet your true task is to stop the beast killing, not necessarily to kill the beast, am I right?
All in all, sure.
Let us find him. By the time we do, I hope I'll have convinced you Dettlaff is no monster.
Fine, all right already. But for now, evidence is stacking up against him.
Hear that?
The posse. Knights must have tracked me here.
I prefer they not find me here. I've makeshift quarters at Mère Lachaise Long Cemetery. We'll meet there.
See you.
Witcher, we flew here as fast as our courses would carry us. Yet I fear we're late all the same. Pray, where is the beast?
Still investigating. About to inspect this site. Withdraw your men before they trample all over the evidence.
Sirs, we must let the Witcher do his work. Milton's murder cannot go unavenged. Allow the Witcher to ply his trade.
Long live Duchessa Anna Henrietta.
Sir! Sir! A letter for you, sir!
Letter? Who from?
Can't rightly say, sir. I was just to deliver it.
Here. And thanks.
No, sir. Thank you. And I truly hope I'll be of service again.
Dearest.
I suspect weighty affairs, rather than merely the wine festival, have drawn you to Toussaint. Perhaps you'll find time to probe a certain matter in spite of this. I recently came across the mention of one Professor Moreau, a scholar in Beauclair, who conducted research into Witcher mutations. Though the details are rather murky, as is the location of the scholar's laboratory, his journal could contain more information. It lies buried with him in his tomb. I enclose a map I found in the book I happened upon. Though less than completely legible, I trust it will prove useful nonetheless. I felt this matter could prove of some importance to you, thus I dispatched this letter without delay. Whatever you decide, please take exceedingly good care of yourself. Your Yen.
A professor who studied Witcher mutations. Might actually be worth looking into.
It's wine, wine, and more wine. But me, I prefer...
Gats, my knees ache something horrible.
Your reputation precedes you, Geralt.
The guard brings peace to our domains. Flout its writ and rot in chains.
Nox a la vie. Might be worth looking into. Someone needs an escort. Not something I do often, but might be worth investigating.
Tony messing everything up.
Welcome home, sir. I am Barnabas Basil Fawlty. By order of the Duchess, I shall serve you as Major Domo of Corvo Bianco. I previously served with distinction at the Nibli family manor and in Nazaire with Admiral Rompali, who, as you are certain to know, is an extraordinary demanding gentleman.
Whoa, Barnabas Basil. One thing you ought to know. I'm not your typical landed gentleman. Truth be told, this is the first real property I've ever owned.
Oh, in that case, you must leave it all to me. I shall organize, see to everything, and whip the house into order. I dare say this place will soon be the most prosperous vineyard around.
Great. Can already see I'm in good hands. Vineyard comes across as a place with a rich history. Know who owned it before me?
Baron Rossel, who went bankrupt, forcing him to sell the estate to the Duchess. The Baron, in turn, had purchased it from Monsieur Bolius of the Headsman, a truly colorful man of Kedweni origin.
He was actually a headsman?
No, not him, but his great-great-great-great-grandfather. Indeed. Apparently, he was a common cut-purse who somehow secured for himself the post of ducal headsman in Beauclair. Went about his work with an exceptional penchant. They say he chopped off more heads than there are grapevines in the ducal vineyards. He never hesitated, not once. Never sliced unevenly, never botched a job. For his exemplary service, the Duke granted him a title and this estate. Monsieur Bolius, on the other hand, was an engineer in his younger years. Once retired, he settled here and took to producing wine. Sadly, misfortune struck and he lost his sense first of smell, then of taste. Additionally, he could not drink alcohol. His medic forbade it.
Shame that. He gave up making wine?
Not at all. He made even more of it. Began throwing wild balls to which he'd invite friends from far and wide in order to treat them to his wine and delight in the fact that at least someone could enjoy it. It's the sort of man he was, Monsieur Bolius.
Mind giving me a little tour de Corvo Bianco?
Not in the least. Follow me, please. I think it would be practical to begin on the hill. Behold, sir, your estate in all its splendor.
Pretty vast.
Indeed. And now, sir, allow me to show you a handful of interesting details. Follow me, please.
Been a major domo all your life?
Yes, I come from a long line of major domos. My father was a major domo, as was my grandfather before him, as was my great-aunt. In fact, she was the one to start the tradition.
Great-aunt?
A hard woman. It is said that already as a child, she knew where she was going, and went there. When she arrived in Beauclair, she signed on as a chambermaid at one of the vineyards, then slowly worked her way up to Major Domo. She dragged the rest of the family up the same path.
I've worked up to my chin and
The servants' quarters. I occupy the green home. With the Duchess's permission, I have hired a full staff. Their salaries to be paid from the ducal treasury.
Nice of her.
Not the most sightly part of the estate, I admit. But I think it's worthwhile for you as master of the domain to know where the help stays. Baron Rossel ordered the vines in this part of the estate uprooted and olive groves planted in their place. They look beautiful, especially come spring.
Don't look at all bad now, either. Down below lies your vineyard, where we grow a strain of Carfanere, one of the world's oldest. Aged in oak barrels, it provides for an exquisite wine with distinct blackberry, wild cherry, plum, and cinnamon notes. Marvelous. Have to try it one of these days.
They say the Duchess commanded a pair of Shaelmars captured for the tourney. Then, during transport,
Nice
one
well.
fled.
Picturesque.
Yes, though it ran dry long ago. During the raucous feasts Master Bolius held, he would order it filled with wine. There's a tale about a guest attending a Bolius ball for the first time and thus unaware of the custom. He had suffered great heartbreak and had decided to end his life by jumping into the well. The festivities were coming to a close, and the well was nearly empty when the suicidal guest finally jumped. Instead of killing himself, he merely broke his legs. To numb the pain, he drank the wine.
Drank himself to death?
Not at all. When found the next day, he had concluded he'd witnessed twin miracles. The water had been changed into wine, and he had survived. He retired to a monastery in the Dragon Mountains and began preaching the wisdoms of Lebioda.
You've spread some nastiness to me.
Monsieur Bolius' wife Nina kept a garden here. A supremely lovely place it was.
Bit neglected now.
I agree. Yet nothing stands in the way of restoring it to its former glory, and once again planting it with herbs and other vegetation. Madame Nina planted diminutive, delicate flowers and herbs here. One might say their aroma still hangs in the air.
You're quite the romantic, Barnabas Basil.
Ket-pittered coronata.
Bread adds a spring to your step. Wine adorns your head with horns.
Diddly
man who dare not
Follow me, please. This served as an additional wine cellar in years of plentiful harvests.
Bit of work, and it'll make a fine stable for Roach.
I work from dawn to dusk's last light. Then give my wife a good look.
The cellars, voila. During Monsieur Bolis's time, wine was kept here, but Baron Rossel used it to store olive oil as well. I took the liberty of cleaning up the mess, which
I made while fighting the Bruxa. Thanks, Barnabas Basil. Appreciate it.
As you can see, the facade is, how to put it, slightly stained. But one cannot deny it, a certain subtle southern charm.
True, though it could use a bit of subtle paint.
And welcome inside. On the left is the master bedroom. On the right, the dining hall and kitchen. Upstairs, you shall find the guest room, currently used for storage.
Not a bad idea.
At the moment, the house is only minimally furnished. Yet I believe we will, together, devise some innovative arrangements. A few paintings, for instance, would breathe new life into the abode immediately. With that, sir, you've seen the full lay of the land. Corfo Bianco is a beautiful estate. One must admit, time has taken its toll. If, forgive me for being forward, but if you were to choose to invest a small sum towards its beautification, consider me at your service on the matter.
Think I'll take you up on that. Be sure to come and see you if I decide to do any remodeling. Thanks. Gotta get back to my business now. See you soon.
How might I be of service?
Thanks.
How might I be of service?
Mentioned the place could stand to be spruced up.
Oh, most decidedly, sir. The question is where you would like to begin this rejuvenation.
Got these spacious grounds. But maybe it's time to make them more... useful.
Oh, yes. We certainly should. The way I see things, given your trade, sir, you would be wise to put in a grindstone and an armorer's table. A good way to start things off, don't you think?
In my trade, my blades get dull pretty quick. Could use a grindstone, professional grade.
Of course. No one would consider that an unnecessary extravagance, I would wager.
Then send out for one, please. A high-quality stone to be set up in the yard.
Of course. I shall send a runner to town at once. I believe you shall be grinding to your heart's content by tomorrow. Will you be needing anything else, sir?
My armor needs work from time to time. You know, oil this, reinforce that. Could use a decent work table where I could do all that.
Admiral Rompali once hired a specialist who made the finest armorer's tables this side of the Yaruga. I will contact him at once.
Good. Order me up a table like that.
Immediately, sir. I expect it will take at most 1 day to arrive. Will you be needing anything else, sir?
Been thinking about the outer walls. Maybe a fresh coat of paint or some patching.
If I might dare to make a suggestion, why not start with a general renovation? I once oversaw such work at Admiral Rompeli's summer residence. The effects were simply breathtaking. Not only did the residence positively sparkle afterwards, but we also made room to display the Admiral's armor and weapons, of which he was a passionate collector.
It's in your hands then. Make the place shine.
I shall get to work immediately. Within a day's passing, I shall have sent for the crew which rebuffed the Admiral's residence. They are the finest specialists around. Highly skilled at what they do, it shall not take them too long, I wager. 2 days after they begin, your eyes will behold your residence in its refurbished, rejuvenated, beautified state. Is there anything else you require, sir?
Know what? Changed my mind. Not in the mood to talk about
I shall be glad.
Ever play Gwent, BB?
Funny you should ask, sir. I was quite adept in my younger years, but that was so long ago. I fear I've limited my interest to collecting now. Managed to assemble quite the set of decks.
Huh, sounds interesting. Mind showing me what you got?
Not at all, sir, but only in action. A round or two, perhaps?
May the best man win.
Do you wish to play against any particular faction, sir?
Not really. You choose.
I congratulate you on your victory. Shall we continue playing?
Maybe later. Got something I need to do right now.
As you wish, sir.
Thanks. Gotta get back to my business now. See you soon.
A spring to your step, wine adorns you.
A man who dare not down some red is a man who's... It's like to thump his head!
I work from dawn to dusk.
Come on now.
Ooh. Deadly thirsty.
What was that?
Lepiota's wheezing lungs. A real...
Oh, my belly roars and growls. Oh, and what do you get for all that work?
Mouth's dry as a stockfish.
Come on now. Regis. Couldn't have picked some other place to meet. Regis! Damn it. Locked. No way I got the place wrong. This is it. Gotta be another way in around here. Show me what you got. Kicking more eggs. Need to incinerate these to ash. Some stench. That's some stench. Just wonderful. Something here. Where's that artifact Kira gave me? Interesting. Agreed to meet a vampire at a cemetery. How much more cliché can you get?
Nothing comes readily to mind.
Could have left the door unlatched.
What of my privacy? I value it rather deeply. Unmolested, especially by unwanted guests, that's my preferred state. Besides, I knew you'd find a way to get in.
True enough. Need to find your friend. I'm hoping you'll agree to help.
I shall do whatever's in my power. Yet what you want or even need must matter little. What matters is what Dettlaff wants. If he does not wish to be found, you will not find him. Ever. End of story.
Come on. Gotta be some way.
Vampires can evade detection by the senses, and no divination magic works on us. Even the most precise megascope would be useless.
And this? Could this help?
Wherever did you get that?
Off one of the beast's victims, found by a bend in the river. Body was chopped in pieces. 3 of those pieces were hands. Hand with the ring seemed the odd one out. Abruxa had taken an interest in it.
It's Dettlaff's hand, without a doubt. It will do splendidly.
The hand. What do you plan to do with it?
You've heard of Kovinaris' theory of tissue memory retention.
Rings a distant bell. Read about it in Alchemia Oblitera. There's a copy at Kaer Morhen, tattered, nearly disintegrated. But if memory serves, Kovinaris never managed to prove it worked.
He did prove it, just never managed to publish his findings. He and I corresponded, you see, after we became friends. Thus, I know he completed his research and performed the first tests. It's complicated, so without delving into details, it is possible to use any piece of tissue to reconstruct what a whole body experienced.
How's it work? We need any special equipment?
We must brew a decoction which Kovinaris gave a rather poetic name, resonance. Once imbibed, it sends one into a trance similar to that induced by narcotics. This triggers visions of events linked to strong emotions experienced by the tissue's owner. Picture it as dreaming a fragment of someone's life.
Any chance we might see what Dettlaff was doing just before he lost his hand?
Indeed. Though I also hope resonance will reveal the location of Dettlaff's hideout.
Ring's pretty intriguing. Made of no metal I've ever seen. And the ornamentation.
It comes from our home, where we lived before the conjunction of spheres. It's actually mine. I received it from a dear old friend. You might call him a humanist. He saw us vampires as guests here, guests who owe their hosts, meaning you humans and the elder races, respect.
Respect? Meaning not to treat us like cattle to be slaughtered for food?
Precisely. And the reason why I, in turn, gave it to Dettlaff. To remind him of the ideals my old friend championed.
Can't you just summon Dettlaff? You're both hired vampires, there's gotta be a way.
If I'm to be entirely candid, there is indeed one. But believe me, we will be better off never availing ourselves of it. It is a last resort. Absolutely.
Last resort? The hell? Why?
There is a being who can summon Dettlaff. Possesses the authority, even the power, to force him to appear in a given place. But the very act of contacting this being, well, it's akin to walking a slack line extended over a chasm filled with molten lava. An exercise as perilous to me as it would be to you. A risk I'm unwilling to take. I beg you, let's do it my way. It will be both quicker and easier.
Kovinaris spent half his life proving his theory. Wild guess. Making a dose of resonance won't be easy.
You guessed correctly. In addition to Dettlaff's tissue, we shall need a powerful occipital lobe stimulant. Effectively a poison, to make one susceptible to visions.
Well, got a few ingredients to choose from. Unfortunately, all are pretty rare. There's Mamoon glands, but closest ones I know of are in Vizima. A spotted white saliva would also serve, but they were culled to extinction over a century ago. Could go with a kobold's eyes, but the creatures are sentient. Rather not gouge one's eyes out.
Given that we lack the time to sleuth this out ourselves, permit me to summon some help.
What was that?
A raven? Rather a common sight at this latitude. Very intelligent fowl. I asked him to look for the creatures you mentioned. Him and his brethren. Perhaps they'll find one in the area, and I would hazard that a flock of ravens will spy any said creature faster than a solitary witcher would. With all due respect to your skills, my friend. It will take them some time, nonetheless, so perhaps you'd care for a snifter of mandrake.
Rarely say no to a snifter.
Sadly, this is but a weak infusion rather than a proper distillate.
Even better. I remember your mandrake hooch. Made people say things they'd have rather kept to themselves.
Now, what could Geralt of Rivia prefer to keep to himself?
So, think you've set a nice little trap for me? Sorry. Want to get me to confess? Gonna have to try harder.
I love a challenge. In that case, my ears are cocked. What must I do?
How about you get the ball rolling? Reveal one of your secrets. Vampires, intriguing creatures, must lead fascinating lives.
Anything in particular interest you?
Curious what you did after you were reborn.
As I'm sure you can surmise, at first I was thoroughly absorbed with recovering. As it is, I've still not recovered completely. Yet I was so weak the first year that I could not stand or move on my own. Detlef bore my weakness bravely, showed great patience. If not for him, I wouldn't be here, and I'd have regenerated far slower. Once I could at last stand unassisted, I set off for Bruges, for my one-time home of Dillingen. There I led the peaceful life of a rural healer and surgeon, enjoying my neighbours' respect and, in fact, constituting the exact opposite of the monstrous vampire the populace imagines.
Bruges, you say? Rebirth make you sentimental?
Perhaps a dash. But what of you? Where have you been? Ever find your Cyrilla?
Back then, yeah. But we parted again soon after. And when the time was ripe, she came back, defeated the Wild Hunt together.
Ooh. Seems I certainly missed quite a bit while I was absent.
True enough. But it's a conversation we'll have another time. Need to know more about you now. Gotta ask you the big question. One everyone wonders about. What happens after death?
You wish me to tell you if the human belief in the gods is well founded? Well, that I do not know. We vampires differ exceedingly from you humans. Our matter, that of which we are composed, can exist without form. We require neither a heart, nor a brain, nor air to breathe.
But were you dead?
As humans understand death, yes.
Feel anything? Understand anything?
It's rather hard to explain. I felt something very unsettling. Something I cannot even name, for I did no reasoning. Only after rebirth did I begin to understand that what I had felt was cold and unimaginable fear. If not for Detlef, I might have drowned in an eternity of icy terror.
Can't have been alive then. Sheesh, experience like that must be vicious.
Indeed, it's hard to compare to anything I know. Yet you are aware we don't see death as you do. The way you cling to life, we find it entirely peculiar. You are mortals, ergo it's a foregone conclusion. You will die. It's but a question of time. Thus, I often find myself wondering why you try so very hard. To die at 20 years, 40, even 100, what's the difference? They're all but the blink of an eye.
Depends on your point of view. Man who's got 1,000,000 crowns to spend can't possibly understand one who's only got 20.
Very true. One's outlook can indeed change much.
Got a new life, a new body. That give you a new start, blank slate?
Starting all anew is a very broad concept. What exactly do you mean?
Your blood addiction, say. Wondering if your body's the same, if it still remembers. Maybe if you drank now, you wouldn't get hooked.
All addictions are a form of slavery. Re-addiction's not a risk I'm willing to take, just to test a hypothesis about corporeal regeneration and whether propensities carry over.
Fair enough. Curiosity, that's all. Sorry.
Not to worry, Geralt. Curiosity is a natural reaction under the circumstances, apart from which I've always valued that trait in you.
Always fascinated me the way vampires can regenerate. A hand growing back is one thing, but Detlef recreating you out of a wet smear? Something else entirely.
A difficult and laborious process, but one that's possible, as my presence proves. But I've heard you too had quite the adventure. They say you lost your memory.
For a bit, but Triss helped me get it back. Actually, pretty damn lucky I only had amnesia.
Yes, you humans are rather buggered in those terms. To strip you of life is, well, it's just plain easy. I've always pitied you in that regard. We vampires are much harder nuts to crack. If a member of another race kills one of us, we can be reborn with a living higher vampire's help. However, if one of our own strikes the deadly blow, death is permanent. There can be no rebirth. One of the chief reasons why vampires long ago swore never to fight one another.
All right, give you one question. What do you want to know?
One question to ask one as fascinating as you, Geralt. Cruel parsimony, I'd say, but I shall do my best to make it count. If you were to die and be reborn as I was, in your new life, would you choose to be a witcher?
That's what interests you most? Whether I'd like to be a witcher again?
Many things interest me, but we've not much time left. Please answer.
Never chose to be a witcher. Fate chose for me. Had it been my choice, I'd have picked a different profession. A profession where I wouldn't have to risk my life every minute of every day. Maybe even one that had earned me some respect.
Thank you for being honest. Honesty is an attribute of the truly brave, and thus a privilege of the very few.
Still no sign of your winged friend. Sure it understood what you wanted?
Dead certain. Let's wait a bit longer. It'll return soon, don't doubt that for a moment. Ever vigilant, even in his sleep. Quite vampire-like, in fact. Are you absolutely certain they don't administer a few of our genes during the trial of the grasses?
Appreciate the compliment. Got something for me?
You were right. No kobolds or mamoons for miles around.
Knew it.
Allow me to finish. You see, there's this spotted white. It haunts an abandoned residence in the Caraberta woods.
Impossible. My brethren hunted down every last spotted white before I was born.
Then it seems you must revise your knowledge of spotted whites. For somehow this one managed to survive your brethren's onslaught. It seems I know this home it haunts. Recall a tale about it. Locals believe the place cursed. Perhaps that's how the white survived, entirely unmolested.
Know anything else about this curse?
I don't recall much in particular. Really don't attach much importance to such things. It was mentioned to me as an anecdote, no more.
Come on, search your memory. Something, anything could be important.
I believe it had a relation to hunger, or, perhaps greed, rapacity. Someone was punished for something...
Textbook definition of a curse, pretty much.
Sorry, Geralt. I try not to clutter my mind with the details of every far-fetched tale I happen to hear. What are your thoughts?
A specimen of a species thought long extinct, and a curse in one place. That a coincidence, or are they related?
Ah, professional curiosity. Personally, I've nothing against you delving into this dilemma, but please remember we need the white's saliva. Nothing beyond that.
Whites rarely appear in the woods, even less likely to find them in abandoned human homes. They inhabit remote wildernesses, old abandoned cemeteries.
What's your point?
This might not be a spotted white after all. Your little helper might have made a mistake.
I sincerely doubt it. Ravens are devilishly intelligent creatures, and they've highly developed observational skills.
What exactly did they observe?
The area around the estate. It's covered in spoons.
Spoons?
Spare me the skeptical smile. I'm but the bearer of this news. Or perhaps this spotted white is a hoarder. Or the spoons are somehow related to the curse.
Let's do this. Start making your decoction while I go get some saliva from that white. Uses it in its brews.
Do you imagine the white will simply sell you some?
Worst case scenario, I'll bring you its salivary glands. They ought to do as well.
For a moment there, I imagined you asking the white to spit into a vial. Quite amusing as a thought, but the salivary glands will do fine indeed.
So, see you later.
Yes, till later. I shall start by perusing some tomes.
Tomes? Thought you were gonna make this decoction.
We require one last ingredient. Alas, obtaining it could prove a trifle toilsome. Thus, I hope to identify a suitable alternative.
All right. Good luck.
And to you, my friend.